Stars had to die for us to live, not God. There is no heaven and hell beyond this earth. There is only the regeneration of life again and again after death transpires. This is not reincarnation, it's the experience of regenerated life. As the world turns, life and death continues to take place. After death, life will continue its return to this world within the cyclical event of the life and death experience, through the auspices of the combined family genetic DNA that will take place in the birthing process for all life forms. Each day, thousands of people die on this earth, and conversely thousands more are reborn. This is the cycle of life and death on this earth. The assertion that all theistic gods are false and fabricated, derived from archaic delusional sensationalism, and that humanity should shift to a belief system rooted in deism, is a philosophical stance that challenges traditional religious beliefs. Let's explore this perspective with a focus on the historical, philosophical, and cultural context. Theistic gods and their origins. Theistic beliefs, which involve the worship of personal gods who are actively involved in the world, have indeed originated from ancient times when human understanding of the natural world was limited. These beliefs often emerged as explanations for natural phenomena, moral codes, and social order. Historical context. As noted in the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy, theistic proofs, such as those by Aquinas, were grounded in empirical facts available at the time. However, these proofs were based on a pre-scientific understanding of the universe. The rise of the scientific revolution in the 16th century began to challenge these views, leading to a shift towards more rational and empirical explanations of the world. Delusional sensationalism. The term delusional sensationalism suggests that theistic beliefs were exaggerated or unfounded claims made in a time of ignorance. This perspective aligns with the views of thinkers like Feuerbach, Marx, Nietzsche, and Freud, who sought to explain the origins of religious belief as projections of human desires or psychological needs, rather than reflections of reality. Deism, as an alternative deism, which posits a creator god who does not intervene in the world, emerged as a response to theistic traditions, particularly during the Enlightenment. It is seen as a more rational approach because it aligns with the scientific understanding of a universe governed by natural laws. Deistic principles. Deism holds that God created the universe but does not interfere with its operations. This view was influenced by the scientific revolution, which demonstrated that the world could be understood through reason and observation, rather than divine intervention. Compatibility with science. Deism is often seen as compatible with scientific discoveries because it does not require miracles or supernatural events. It allows for a belief in a creator without the need for ongoing divine involvement, which can be seen as a middle ground between theism and atheism. Challenges to theism. The argument against theism includes several philosophical and empirical challenges. Lack of evidence. Critics of theism argue that there is no empirical evidence for the existence of personal gods. Theistic proofs, such as those by Aquinas, rely on logical arguments that are not universally accepted. Evolving understanding. As human knowledge has expanded, many traditional theistic explanations for natural phenomena, e.g., thunder as the voice of a god, have been replaced by scientific explanations. For example, atmospheric electricity. Moral and social functions. Some argue that theistic beliefs serve social and moral functions but are not necessarily true. For example, religion can provide a sense of community and ethical guidelines, but these functions can be fulfilled by secular means as well. Transition to deism. The proposal that humanity should permanently adopt deism as a belief system is rooted in the idea that it offers a more rational and sustainable framework. Rational basis. Deism is seen as rational because it does not require belief in miracles or divine interventions, which are often seen as contradictory to scientific principles. Universal appeal. Deism can appeal to people across different cultures because it does not demand adherence to specific religious doctrines or practices, only a belief in a non-intervening creator. Philosophical shift. This shift would require a significant cultural and philosophical realignment, moving away from personal gods to a more abstract concept of a creator. It would also involve re-evaluating moral and ethical systems that are currently tied to theistic frameworks. Counter-arguments and considerations. However, there are counter-arguments to this proposal. Human need for personal connection. Many people find comfort and meaning in personal relationships with a deity which deism does not provide. Theistic religions offer rituals, community, and a sense of divine presence that deism lacks. Cultural resistance. Theistic beliefs are deeply ingrained in many cultures and societies. A shift to deism would face significant resistance, especially in regions where religion plays a central role in daily life and governance. Philosophical debate. The debate between theism and deism is ongoing. Some argue that deism is still a form of theism, just with different attributes of God. Others see it as a stepping stone to atheism or agnosticism. Conclusion. The argument that all theistic gods are false and that humanity should adopt deism is a philosophical position that reflects a desire for a more rational and scientifically compatible belief system. A personal God is required by the fearful theist since the world around him is full of tragedy, pain, and suffering. The belief that an all-powerful overseer, prime mover, first causation to life, seems like a plausible escape from the consequences of this world, and the death that follows. The idea that a personal God is required by fearful theists due to the world's tragedies, pain and suffering, and that belief in an all-powerful overseer offers a plausible escape from these consequences is a perspective that aligns with certain philosophical and psychological critiques of theism. Let's explore this idea in depth, considering historical, philosophical, and cultural contexts. The role of a personal God in theism. Theistic beliefs often involve a personal God who is not only the creator of the universe but also actively involved in it, offering guidance, comfort, and intervention. This personal relationship with a deity can provide a sense of security and meaning, especially in the face of life's challenges. Comfort in tragedy. As noted in the article Trusting God in the Midst of Tragedy from the Gospel Coalition, the Psalms, particularly Psalm 139, offer comfort to believers by affirming God's knowledge, presence, and sovereignty. For many theists, the belief that God is aware of their suffering and has a plan can mitigate the fear and despair associated with tragedy. Escape from consequences. The concept of an afterlife where justice is served and suffering is alleviated can be seen as an escape from the immediate consequences of pain and death in this world. This is evident in theistic responses to the logical problem of evil, where believers might argue that suffering has a purpose or will be compensated in the afterlife. Philosophical critiques. Philosophers and critics of theism, such as those mentioned in the context of deism and atheism, have challenged the necessity and validity of believing in a personal God. Feuerbach, Marx, Nietzsche, Freud. These thinkers have argued that theistic beliefs are projections of human desires and fears. For example, Freud saw religion as a form of wish fulfillment, where the belief in a personal God satisfies the human need for a parental figure who can protect and guide. Logical problem of evil. The Internet. Encyclopedia of Philosophy discusses how the existence of evil and suffering challenges the notion of an all-powerful, all-good God. Theistic responses often involve faith in a divine plan or the promise of an afterlife, which can be seen as an escape mechanism rather than a rational explanation. Deistic alternative. Deism, which posits a non-intervening creator, is seen by some as a more rational approach because it does not require belief in a personal God who intervenes in human affairs. This perspective aligns with the scientific understanding of a universe governed by natural laws, reducing the need for a personal deity to explain or alleviate suffering. Psychological and social functions. The belief in a personal God serves several psychological and social functions. Coping mechanism. In times of tragedy, such as the loss of a child as described in the Gospel Coalition article, the belief in a personal God can provide a framework for coping. It offers a narrative that suffering is not meaningless and that there is a higher purpose. Community and support. Theistic beliefs often come with community structures, for example churches, mosques, synagogues, that provide social support, which can be crucial in times of distress. Moral framework. A personal God often provides a moral framework that guides behavior and offers hope for justice, which can be comforting in a world perceived as unjust. Challenges to the necessity of a personal God. The argument that a personal God is necessary only for the fearful is challenged by various counterpoints. Atheistic and agnostic perspectives. Many individuals find meaning and cope with tragedy without believing in a personal God. Humanist and existentialist philosophies, for example, emphasize human agency and resilience in the face of suffering. Scientific understanding. Advances in science have provided alternative explanations for natural phenomena and human experiences, reducing the perceived need for divine intervention. Cultural shifts. In societies where secularism is prevalent, the role of a personal God in daily life has diminished for many, yet these societies still function and provide support through social and legal structures. Conclusion. The belief in a personal God as a response to tragedy, pain, and suffering is indeed a common feature of theism. It offers a narrative of hope, purpose, and escape from the immediate consequences of life's challenges. However, this belief is not universally necessary or accepted. There isn't an afterlife. There is only the regeneration of life that is procured through the parental unification that unifies the genetic DNA structurally to once again develop the newly born child. The old is dead and gone. It has returned back to this earth from where it once originated in the form of bacteriological substance. Every day, 150,000 plus people die, and an equally congruent number of babies are born. The cycle of life and death will continue on this earth until the world itself stops vertiginously turning and dies. Then humanity and all life will die. The perspective that there is no afterlife, only the regeneration of life through genetic continuity, and that death marks the end of individual existence, is a materialist view that aligns with certain scientific and philosophical understandings. Let's explore this idea in detail, considering the biological, philosophical, and cultural implications. Biological regeneration and genetic continuity. Your statement emphasizes the cycle of life and death through the lens of biology, particularly the role of DNA in the continuation of life. Genetic unification. The process of reproduction involves the combination of genetic material from two parents, leading to the creation of a new individual. This is a fundamental aspect of sexual reproduction, where DNA from both parents is mixed to form a unique genetic profile for the offspring. Bacteriological substance. The idea that life originates from bacteriological substance refers to the theory of abiogenesis, where life is believed to have emerged from simple organic compounds. This is supported by evidence from early Earth conditions and the study of extremophiles, which suggests that life could have arisen from non-living matter. Cycle of life and death. The daily statistics you mentioned, 150,000 plus deaths and an equal number of births, highlight the continuous turnover of life. This is a factual observation that underscores the relentless nature of biological processes. Philosophical materialism. This perspective aligns with philosophical materialism, which holds that only physical matter exists, and that all phenomena, including consciousness, can be explained by physical processes. No afterlife. Materialism rejects the idea of an afterlife, positing that death is the cessation of all biological functions, including consciousness. The individual identity, as defined by the brain and body, does not persist beyond death. Return to Earth. The notion that the dead return to the earth as bacteriological substance is a poetic way of describing decomposition, where the body breaks down into its constituent elements, which can then be recycled into new life forms through ecological processes. Scientific evidence. Scientific understanding supports the idea that life is a continuous process of regeneration. Abiogenesis. The origin of life from non-living matter is a widely accepted scientific theory, though the exact mechanisms are still debated. Evidence from hydrothermal vents and the study of early Earth conditions suggests that life could have emerged from simple chemical reactions. Evolutionary biology. The theory of evolution by natural selection explains how life forms change over time, with new species arising from existing ones through genetic variation and environmental pressures. Death and birth rates. The global statistics on death and birth rates are indeed approximate, with around 150,000 deaths and a similar number of births daily. This balance maintains the population and ensures the continuity of the species. Cultural and philosophical counterpoints. While this materialist view is scientifically grounded, it contrasts with many cultural and religious beliefs that posit an afterlife or spiritual continuity. Theistic beliefs. Many religions such as Christianity, Islam, and Hinduism believe in an afterlife where the soul or consciousness continues beyond physical death. These beliefs provide comfort and meaning in the face of mortality. Philosophical idealism. Some philosophical traditions, like idealism, argue that consciousness or spirit is primary, and the physical world is a manifestation of this. This view would challenge the materialist perspective that death is the end. Existentialism. Existentialist philosophers, such as Sartre and Camus, Grapple with the absence of an afterlife, focusing instead on the meaning individuals create in their lives despite the inevitability of death. The end of the world. Your statement that the cycle of life and death will continue until the earth stops turning and all life dies is a sobering reminder of the finite nature of our planet. Geological and astronomical perspectives. The earth will indeed cease to support life eventually, due to factors such as the expansion of the sun, climate change, or catastrophic events. This is a long-term process, but it is a certainty based on current scientific understanding. Human extinction, the extinction of humanity and all life is a possibility, either through natural causes or human-induced disasters. This underscores the urgency of addressing global challenges like climate change and nuclear proliferation. Conclusion. The perspective that there is no afterlife, only the regeneration of life through genetic continuity, is a materialist view that is supported by scientific evidence and philosophical reasoning. It emphasizes the biological cycle of life and death where individual existence ends with death, but life continues through the reproduction of new individuals. This view contrasts with theistic and spiritual beliefs that offer hope for an afterlife, but it aligns with the empirical understanding of the world. The inevitability of the Earth's eventual demise adds a layer of urgency to our existence, reminding us to value the present and the continuity of life. The ongoing dialogue between materialist and spiritual perspectives continues to shape our understanding of life, death, and the universe.